Let's start by coming down onto our bellies to start class. We come around onto all fours and begin to gently lower the body down. Taking a half frog position to open up the hip and the inner thigh, we'll take our left leg and draw a knee up towards the hip. Shin becomes parallel to the mat. Rocking the left hip bone to the ground, we lower the torso down. We can relax our forehead directly on the mat or on the backs of the hands. Allowing the wave of the breath to come over us. Inhale, belly expands into the mat. Rib cage expands. Exhale, it all comes together. Last deep breath on this side. Left leg lengthens in line with the hip, and we come to the right side, half frog. Knee bends, comes up towards the hip. Shin is parallel. Right hip bone turns to look at the ground as we lengthen the torso. Last deep breath on this side. Right leg lengthens back in line with the hip. As our hands come in line with our chest and we press back into a wide-legged child's pose, drawing the knees wide to the mat, big toes come together as the hips press back, opening the inner thighs a little bit more as we nestle down to the mat. Remembering we can always take time to come to child's pose during class today, regardless of what we're doing. On the next inhale, let's begin to make our way onto all fours. Our hands are spread wide and come underneath the shoulders as the knees make their way underneath the hips. Belly pulls into the spine and our shoulder blades roll away from one another. Finding spinal balance, right arm lifts in line with the ear, thumb towards the ceiling, as the left leg begins to lengthen behind us in line with the hip, push through the heel. Exhale, slowly lower back to the mat. Left arm, right leg extends. Exhale, bring it together. Right arm, left leg. The torso is still as the limbs are moving. Exhale, release. Inhale, left arm, right leg. Reaching forward and pushing back. Exhale, lower. One more time to each side. Right arm, left leg. As we reconnect on the exhale. Left arm, right leg. Finding our way back onto all fours. Let's extend our right leg in line with the hip. toe to the ground. It crosses behind the left leg off the mat as our gaze comes over the left shoulder towards the right foot. Breathing into the side body on the right hand side. Right leg comes back in line, knee drops to the ground. Left leg extends. Cross it past the midline of the body, past the right leg. Foot will come off the mat as the gaze comes over the right shoulder this time towards the left foot. Coming back into neutral, knee drops underneath the hip. Curl our toes and let's begin to find our very first downward facing dog. Strong through the hands as we push the floor away. Pedaling out the feet, bending one knee and then the other. Begin to check in to see how we feel through that posterior chain of the body, the back, the hamstrings, the calves. Let's gently allow both heels to press towards the ground. Whether they touch or not is not the goal. Bend the knees so deep that the hips come down towards the heel, and then shoot forward to plank. Belly lifts, hips go high, downward facing dog. Drop the hips, come up onto the toes. Press forward into plank. Belly pulls in and back, downward facing dog. Drop the hips towards the heels. Forward to plank. Back to down dog. Look to the space in between the hands as we bend the knees and walk into forward fold. Feel the weight distribute on all corners of the foot. The toes spread wide as the arches lift. Taking a knee bend may be necessary in forward folds as we nurture any tight hamstrings or low back issues, or just simply as we warm up. For some of us, forward fold is not a pleasant position, so allow yourself even to come half back position, hands to thighs. Just working where your body is today. Bend both knees, circle sweep the arms towards the ceiling. Squeeze the glutes as the hip extends and sit back into chair. Inhale, rise. Exhale, close. Right leg is in front, left leg steps behind us, lunge pose. Shin draws forward, heel extends, lifted through the pelvis. Inhale the arms all the way up. Tailbone looks down. Hands come down to frame the right foot. Exhale, straighten the front leg to the best of our ability. Ground the big toe. Hips stay even. Inhale, draw the shin forward, lift the torso, full lunge. Exhale, hands down, lengthen. Inhale into that high lunge. Exhale, come down, straighten and lengthen the front leg. Inhale into the lunge. This time as the hands frame the right foot, let's kick back. Downward facing dog. Bend our knees so deep, hips come towards heels. Shoot forward to plank. Peel back, downward facing dog. Bend the knees, hips to heels. Shoot to plank. Peel back. Bend the knees, hips to heels. Shoot forward to plank. Downward facing dog. Gaze goes between the hands as we bend the knees, forward fold. Bend the knees, circle sweep, reach towards the ceiling. Sink into our chair as we reach high. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lengthen over the thighs. Left leg is in front, right leg steps behind us. Set the feet. Find evenness through the hips as the torso lifts. Arms comes when ready. Hands frame the left foot, straighten and lengthen. Right hip bone continues to look down at the mat. Inhale, full crescent lunge. Exhale, hands down, straighten and lengthen. Big toes down. Inhale, back into your lunge. Exhale, straighten and lengthen. Beginning to work into those hamstrings. Inhale, lift. This time as we come down, frame the left foot, downward facing dog. Bend the knees, hips to heels, shoot forward to plank, lower down, chaturanga, one long line, head to heels. Big toes connect, glutes squeeze, lift the hands, lift the back, cobra. Exhale back, downward facing dog. Right leg lifts behind us. Draws in between our hands. Peel the knee to the nose and then plant the foot. We're going to walk around that left hand side of the mat, wide-legged forward fold, and then sink right into that left hip. Lateral lunge. Come back center, wide-legged forward fold. Left foot turns to look as we pivot on the right to the back of the mat. Lunge pose. Downward facing dog. Bend the knees, hips to heels, shoot forward to plank. Lower down, chaturanga. Inhale into cobra. Exhale back. Downward facing dog. Left leg lifts. Draw knees towards nose as we plant the foot into the lunge. Walk along the right hand side of the edge mat. Wide-legged forward fold. Sink into the right hip, lateral lunge. Inhale, forward fold, wide-legged forward fold. Turn the right toes back to the front of the mat as we pivot on the back foot, lunge. Exhale back, downward facing dog. Bend the knees, hips to heels, shoot forward plank, lower down, chaturanga. Finding cobra. Connection to the big toes, lifting of the back, eyes gaze down, downward facing dog. Right leg lifts behind us. Knee towards nose, plant the foot, lunge. Walk along that left hand side of the mat into wide-legged forward fold. Sink into side lunge over to the left. Stay grounded through the right leg. Arch lift, pinky stays grounded. Slowly come all the way back into our wide-legged forward fold. Turn the right toes, keep the left foot parallel, warrior two. As we come up. Back hip tucks underneath. Tips of the shoulder blades squeeze together. Straighten our front leg, tighten the thigh, open up into triangle. Trikonasana. Slowly lift the torso, round the toes to the side edge of the mat, wide-legged forward fold. Left leg turns to the back of the mat as we pivot on the right into a lunge. Exhale back, downward facing dog. Hips towards heels, shoot forward to plank, lower down. Finding cobra. Exhale back. Left leg lifts, draws in between our hands, find your lunge. Walk along that right hand side edge of the mat, wide-legged forward fold, sink into lateral lunge. Coming center into wide-legged forward fold, Left toes turn, right foot stays, warrior two. Begin to straighten the front leg. Open up Trikonasana. Slowly come back, wide-legged forward fold. Walking the right foot back around to the front of the mat, pivoting on the left, downward facing dog. Bend the knees, take a moment in child's pose. Allow the wrists to circle as we release tension through the wrists. Maybe we open the hand, close it. Extending the arms long in line with the shoulders if they're not there already. Downward facing dog. Beginning to open up into side plank. Inhale forward into plank. Option to drop the knee and even kickstand the foot back if we'd like a supported side plank. We're grounded through this back foot. If we can, extend that bottom leg. Bottom hip lifts. We're strong through the arm. Come out of the shoulder joint. Slowly close into plank. Chaturanga. If you'd like up dog, come halfway, flip the tops of the feet, pull the hips through the arms, spread the collarbones. Exhale back, downward facing dog. Right leg lifts, knee towards nose, plant the foot into lunge. Walk along the side of the mat into wide-legged forward fold, sink to the left. Option to pull the right toes towards the ceiling to get a little deeper into the inner thigh. Weight is behind the knee. Slowly reground if we're lifted. Wide-legged forward fold. Right toes turn, back foot stays, warrior two. Feel that back hip pull underneath. Feel this shin sink, integrity of the back foot. Straighten the leg, squeeze that thigh muscle, top hip bone stays open as we fall into tree pose. Triangle pose. Begin to straighten the front leg, squeeze the thigh muscle, top hip bone stays open as we come into triangle pose. Torso lifts, wide-legged forward fold on the exhale. Walk around towards the left foot, pivot on the right into your lunge. Downward facing dog. Side plank, inhale forward in. Drop the knee if you need to. Pivot onto the left hand as the hips connect and we rise. Hands come down to plank. Lower down, chaturanga, cobra, or up dog, your choice. Peel back, downward facing dog. Left leg lifts. Foot finds its way in between the hands, lunge. Walk to that edge of the mat, wide-legged forward fold, sink into the right hip this time. Peel the toes to the ceiling if we're taking that add-on. Reground into wide-legged forward fold. Left toes turn away, right foot stays. Find your warrior two. Rib cage stays over the hips, nose over belly. Engage as we straighten the front leg. Open the back hip. Stacking the hip bones, reaching high with the hands. Head can look up, center, or down. Nice big inhale, exhale, back into wide-legged forward fold. Pivoting around towards the right foot into our lunge. Downward facing dog. Bend the knees, connect to the mat. Child's pose. 5 deep breaths. Take the wrists so that the back of the hands come to the ground and we open up. We're gonna work some side plank variations, and they're definitely on the advanced side. So if you just wanna work side plank, work regular side plank, hold, rest if you need to. Let's find our way back to downward facing dog. We're gonna find a figure 4. So left leg lifts. We draw knee to nose slightly and cross the left leg over the right as we press back. Figure 4. You can even stay here if you want. Inhale forward to plank, and that right hand is going to be where we come to. We're going to drop onto the side of the right foot as we lift. Strong through the shoulders, lifted through the hips. Now we're going to revolve our side plank. So we'll come down, left hand will connect, we'll pivot on the foot to the other side and make our way to side plank there. Slowly come back to plank. Press back to downward facing dog, release the left leg. Well done. Right leg lifts. Find the foot between the hands. Walk the edge of the mat. Sink into your left leg. Pull the toes and maybe even lift the torso. Getting deeper and deeper into that inner thigh. Slowly reground, wide-legged forward fold. Right toes turn back, left foot stays, warrior 2. Sink. Keep the integrity of the back foot. Straighten the front leg. Engage the quadricep. Keep top hip bone open. Fall into our triangle. Take a nice big inhale. Let's reverse our triangle. Back arm comes down the back leg. Rib cage comes up and under. We reach nice and tall. Coming all the way back. Find our wide-legged forward fold. Left toes turn behind us as we pivot on the right into our lunge. Kick back, downward facing dog. Side plank variation on this side, right leg lifts. Knee comes in slightly as it figure 4 is over the left leg. Coming into that plank, left hand takes the weight this time as we rotate into side plank. Revolve the side plank. Right hand comes down, pivot all the way around onto the foot. Find side plank to the other side. Screw the hand into the ground. Find plank. Press back to down dog. Left leg lifts. Foot between the hands, lunge. Walk the side of the mat, wide-legged forward fold, into the right hip. Maybe toes lift, maybe torso lifts, any variation. Coming all the way back, wide-legged forward fold. Left toes turn. Warrior two. Rib cage nestles over the hips. We calm the breathing. Straighten the front leg, find your triangle. Let's reverse the triangle. Right hand comes down that back leg, right rib cage comes up and under. Left arm reaches to open up the side body. Coming into wide-legged forward fold. Walking around to the right foot, pivot on the back, lunge pose. Step all the way in, forward fold. Take a knee bend, bring the backs of the hands to the ground. Ragdoll the body. Bend the knees, circle sweep, reach towards the ceiling. Exhale into chair. Inhale up. Exhale, arms alongside of us into mountain pose. Finding pyramid pose. Left leg steps behind us about 2 to 3 feet off of our front leg. Hips continue to square to the front of the mat. Let's bring our hands towards our hips, maintaining even pelvic alignment when we start to come down and over the right leg. Torso slightly twists towards the right, and then we begin to find our way forward. Stopping at our range of motion. The hands can come to the floor or to a block. Relax the neck. Feel the right hip pull back as the left hip pulls forward. Slight bend through the right leg, step all the way in, forward fold. Bend the knees, circle sweep, reach towards the ceiling. Find your chair. Inhale, lift. Mountain pose, arms come alongside of us. Left leg is in front this time. Right leg steps 2 to 3 feet off of our right foot. Our left foot. Hands come to the hips. Torso slightly turns over the left leg. As we begin to come down, noticing any major restrictions between the sides. Left hip pulls back, right hip pulls forward. Slight bend through the left leg, all the way in, forward fold. Bend the knees, bring the backs of the hands back to the ground. We're gonna work and add on to that side plank. Because if you know me, you know I love my add-ons. So be where you need to be. Maybe you just work side plank, find that foundation. Having the foundation is really, really important. Let's find downward facing dog. Left leg lifts behind us. Knee comes slightly towards the nose as we cross into that figure 4 down dog. Come into plank, making our way to side plank, right arm takes the brunt end of the weight. Revolve the side plank, left hand comes down. Pivot across the foot, lift those hips, stay lifted. Stack the shoulder blades. Slowly close. Now here's the add-on. We're going to come back to that right hand side. So pivot around. Stay here, or peace fingers grabs the big toe as we extend up. Slowly lower. Plank pose. Chaturanga. Cobra or up dog. That was just mean to me. Belly comes in. Downward facing dog. Right leg lifts. Find the lunge. Walk the edge of the mat. Wide-legged forward fold into your left hip. Find your variation on that lateral lunge. See if those toes can pull a little higher to the side. Come in, wide-legged forward fold. Warrior two, right toes turn to the front of the mat. Straighten the front leg, triangle pose. Reverse triangle. Torso lifts, toes turn, wide-legged forward fold. Walk around to the left foot, pivot on the right into lunge. Downward facing dog. Smile, we're going to do that progression of side plank on the other side. So smile because this is the last time we're going to do it. Right leg lifts this time. Knee comes slightly in, find that figure four. Shift in, left hand takes the weight as we rotate into side plank. Revolve the side plank. Right hand comes down, pivot across the foot. Keep the integrity, lifting that bottom hip. And here's the add-on. Round back around. Left hand has the weight. Staying here, or peace fingers to big toes. Lift and lift. Slowly release into plank. Chaturanga, elbows are hugging, 1 unit, slow. Cobra or up dog. Downward facing dog. Left leg lifts, find your lunge. Walk the edge of the mat. Wide-legged forward fold. Into your lateral lunge of choice. Into wide-legged forward fold. Left toes turn to the back of the mat. Warrior two. Settle through the breath. Straighten the front leg. Triangle. Reverse triangle. Slowly rise, wide-legged forward fold. Pivot around towards the right foot into lunge. Back into child's pose. Well done. Maybe you want wide child's pose. Knees out. Last deep breath. As we rise, we're going to find our way into frog pose, which is a really deep inner thigh opener. So coming into half frog, again, just like we did at the very beginning of class, may be the option you want to take. So just as a reminder, you come down onto your belly, left leg comes out. If you want to enhance it, if you have a block, place it midway between knee and ankle. And that will enhance this pose a little bit. So if you don't want to come into the full version, which I'm going to show in a second, you can come right here. If you're coming into full frog, you're going to want to roll the mat a little bit to protect the knees from the ground. It looks a lot like child's pose, but there is definite significant differences. So we're going to take the legs as wide as possible. And then the knee, if you look down, should be right in line with the ankle joint, not toes together like we would do in a child's pose. We begin to add some pressure as we push the hips back. And then walk ourselves down, keeping that gentle press back into the hips. If you can even the torso to the ground, feel free. And then it's very important to keep the wave of the breath. So we should always be able to take a nice big inhale. And then as we exhale, we want to try to let go of the tension we're holding. If you're doing single leg frog, go ahead and switch to the opposite side. Three more deep breaths. Walk the hands up. Let one knee come in, then the other to all fours. And then gently just let the hips go back and forth side to side as we just let those inner thighs rebound for a moment. Come along to our mat. Take ourselves all the way to the top as we roll onto our backs, knees come into our chest. Roll back and forth, side to side in a circle. Let's plant our right foot to the floor and begin to extend the left leg towards the ceiling. Toes come to the shin. Our sacrum, that bone, that flat bone right above our glutes and right below our low back, is grounded to the mat. Maybe the hands come behind the thighs. If we can reach big toe with our peace fingers and go ahead and reach towards the big toe, maybe the calf or the shin. If it feels comfy, go ahead and lengthen the right leg in line with the hip. knee bends as we release, bringing the left foot to the ground. Right knee comes in as we extend the right leg towards the ceiling. Toes to shin. Finding the hand placement that works. Around the sacrum. Slide the left leg long. Bend the right knee. Left knee comes in. Roll back and forth, side to side. Now I know with a home practice it's super easy to skip out on final relaxation, but it's really important. So if you can hang in there through final relaxation, we find the position that feels best for us. If we want to keep the inner thighs relaxing, we find butterfly is a great way to do that. Or we can extend the legs into Savasana.
I got time, it's clear to see. From up here, the world seems small. We can sit together. It's so beautiful, you and me. We meant to be in the great
They often
outdoors,
say that Savasana is the toughest pose in yoga,
forever free.
not because of the intensity that we exert, but because we're supposed to be still. We're giving our body a chance to adapt to the work that was just done.
Take a step back to see the truth around you. From a distance you can tell.
We allow our body to come into a state of relaxation.
You and me,
And if your mind wanders
meant to be
during Savasana,
in the great outdoors.
if you notice that it's wandering,
You and
just bring it back to the breath.
meant to be in the great outdoors, forever free.
Slowly beginning to wiggle our fingers and our toes. Arms lengthen long as the arms come overhead. Knees come into the chest, one and then the other. Roll over onto whichever side is most comfortable. And then making our way into a comfortable seated position. Spine long over the hips. Collarbones spread the chest. Let the chin tuck. Let's inhale and think about something we're really grateful for. And then just exhale any negativity or anxiety we may be holding on to. Inhale, arms up overhead. From my home to yours, namaste.